delighted to welcome Lorraine Higgins, who is joining us this morning. Lorraine is Chief Executive, Digital Business Ireland. She's a former senator and a highly experienced public policy professional, media commentator and strategist. She previously worked as a barrister and during her time as a senator was a regular contributor on matters including business, entrepreneurship and EU issues. In December 2015, she was named by the Irish Times as one of the top 5 people in politics to watch and one of the top 50 in Ireland to watch. Lorraine Higgins, Chief Executive, Digital Business Ireland, you're going to talk to us about e-commerce trends and business beyond boundaries.
Good morning. My name is Lorraine Higgins and I'm Chief Executive of Digital Business Ireland, the representative body for online, digital and businesses that are trading online. We represent the interests of many businesses from an advocacy perspective, public policy, try to bring best learnings to those businesses and try and enable them and equip them to sell more online and outside of this country. So today my presentation is going to focus on the opportunities that exist for businesses in the global digital marketplace. We all know over the course of COVID-19 the challenges that have impacted Irish businesses, where many of them have had to close as a result of lockdowns. As we now encounter a second lockdown in this country, retailers and many businesses that have depended on footfall over their threshold will have to look at other sales channels in order to sell more, maintain their operations and keep people employed. Over the course of this year, we've seen a massive drive towards online sales. We know that based on statistics that have emerged from the likes of Wolfgang Digital that have told us that there was a 200% increase in retail sales in Ireland. That is substantial considering the preference that many Irish consumers have for human-to-human contact in bricks and mortar stores. That said, it doesn't mean that bricks and mortar and online are mutually exclusive. In fact, they both complement each other in this new normal that we're living through. We've also seen from IE Domain Registry that there's been a huge number of people availing of .ie websites, having been successful in applying for the Digital Trading Online voucher that's available from your local enterprise offices. We know that at least there's been a twofold increase in registration of domains. So it really tells you that businesses are seeing the opportunity that exists online and they're embracing it with gusto. While Ireland generally would have always been, or Irish businesses would have always been focused on doing business within their own geographical area, online provides other new marketplaces in different countries, inside and outside of the EU, where it's possible to export to. And I think that's really key in this discussion here today. A lot of retailers and online businesses must see themselves as exporters and realise their export potential that exists. We know that Enterprise Ireland have certainly taken a policy shift in terms of supporting these businesses by introducing an online retail scheme, which is paying really good dividends in the sense that it's enabling and equipping Irish businesses find these new marketplaces, getting the logistics, payments and market insight support that's required for them to grow and thrive. However, for today, we're going to focus on my agenda, which is just up on the screen now. First off, we'll discuss the global e-commerce trends and that global opportunity that exists. We'll also move on then to how to determine your global opportunity. We'll look at solutions for you and your customers to make selling online that little bit more seamless. And then we're going to focus on the key takeaways from my sessions before moving into a questions and answers session. So when it comes to e-commerce trends, it's quite phenomenal in terms of the numbers that exist. So there are 2.1 billion shoppers online. We're already steadily approaching that figure. The expectation is that we were going to reach that number by 2021, but obviously COVID has acted as a catalyst to deliver those numbers in earlier course. In America, 4.9 trillion US dollars is the estimated global e-commerce sales by 2021. So just think about that figure for just one moment. Before COVID, Ireland was selling 21 million a day in online sales. And unfortunately, 2/3 of that spend at that time was leaving the country. However, we do know from recent figures that 53% of that figure now remains in Ireland, and 47% is spent by Irish consumers on overseas business. So that's an important statistic that we have to try and reduce for the purposes of assisting Irish businesses. The amount of money spent globally on cross-border purchases is 994 billion US dollars, which is a considerable amount of money, and it's a trend that we see emerging right throughout the globe. 81% of global e-commerce sales rose by 81% in May 2020 compared to May 2019. So that really determines where your customer base is, the fact that they want to be online. It's also compatible with public health requirements, and there isn't the risk involved with going into bricks and mortar outlets. However, we know from an Irish perspective that people do want that human-to-human contact, but at the same time, businesses cannot ignore the sales channel opportunity that online presents. We know that 95% of the world's population lives outside of the United States, and that's a really important statistic because very often Irish businesses, when they're looking at markets that they can target for their products, traditionally we always focus on those English-speaking countries like the United States and the United Kingdom. Obviously, with the advent of Brexit, things will change with the British marketplace. We don't know what they have planned. And likewise, we know that with the United States, that market is slightly diminishing as a consequence of the shift of economic power from east to west. Consumer behaviour has changed. That's something that all businesses need to take note of. People and consumers expect everything on demand at any time, at any place, and to be able to buy anywhere. So that's something that online businesses have to be really cognizant of. There's less loyalty from consumers these days, and it's very, very much a different behavioural matter, selling online as opposed to selling in store, where you know the person that's your customer, you know that they're from within your vicinity, and you know that they are loyal to your brand and to your business, which they'll have proven over the years. So the expanding global marketplace, quite enormous. 2 billion shoppers online, and 50% of them shop cross-border. I explained earlier on in my presentation that that was slightly higher in Ireland, in that 2/3 of online spend was leaving the country. We've since reduced that to 47%, but we need to get that figure down that bit more. So I think, a message that needs to be propagated by all online businesses in Ireland, especially coming into this busy season with Cyber Week and indeed with the Christmas period upon us, is advocating that people and consumers in Ireland click green and buy nearby. So just looking at the opportunity that exists for Irish businesses across the global marketplace. In Canada, there are 18 million online shoppers, and 67% of them buy cross-border. Traditionally, they would have bought off US businesses, but obviously other opportunities exist there. As an English and French-speaking country, that provides opportunities to Irish businesses with the export potential. In the US, 205 million online shoppers exist there, and 32% of them buy cross-border. So that figure is over half of that of Canada. In Germany, which is a market that lots of Irish businesses target, 47 million online shoppers exist there, and 23% of those online consumers buy cross-border. Poland presents a great opportunity, particularly for Irish businesses, and given the numbers of the relationship that exists between Poland and Ireland. There are 14 million online shoppers in this country, and 54% of them buy cross-border. A little further away in Japan, there are 77 million online shoppers, and 14% of them purchase cross-border. Japan is a leading retail destination. It certainly is leading the charge in terms of their innovation in this space, which probably lends itself to a very positive experience for consumers, and which is why consumers tend to be loyal to the brands within their country. Brazil, 40 million online shoppers, 39% of them buy cross-border. Mexico, 19 million online shoppers, and 50% of them buy cross-border, and predominantly in the US. Australia, there are 12 million online shoppers, 69% of them buy cross-border. And then you have New Zealand with 2 million online shoppers, and 80% of them buying cross-border. Israel, which is the leading tech country in this part of the world, there are 4 million online shoppers, with 82% of them buying cross-border. And the United Arab Emirates, 6 million online shoppers, with 90% cross-border buyers. So you can really get a perspective in terms of the kind of possibilities that exist out there for Irish businesses. Once you define the market that you want to target, you need to eke out what kind of support is available from the state in order to develop your brand in those markets, and availing of all the supports that come from the local enterprise office, and indeed Enterprise Ireland, will be key to seeing what the possibilities are for your business in those markets. So I guess key to the success of online businesses is understanding how your customers' buying habits have changed. As I mentioned at the outset, customers demand flexibility, speed and reliability in terms of the product landing at their destination. Consumers are increasingly purchasing via their mobile devices. So if you have a website, it's really important that you have a mobile-enabled website as well. And prior to COVID, that was absolutely crucial for the purposes of the fact that you had a lot of consumers who were transporting themselves long distances to work on a daily basis, and that commute was an opportune time for them to check in and see what was available for purchase online. Customers prefer to pay in local currency using local payment methods. That's absolutely crucial for any business who's looking to sell in a different marketplace. Being sensitive to the price changes after converting your currency is really important. So, we always need to round up in Ireland. So, you will see that the goods and products will be for sale for €9.50 or €10 or $9.99. But what you don't want is to be advertising goods and products on your website where the price comes up as $9.22 or $9.37. It just gives the wrong message. More crucially in all of this is speed of delivery. It's really, really important for consumers now that they can get their products delivered to them in a cost-effective way, and in a way that's delivered very, very quickly. That's something that retailers need to focus on in particular, particularly the last mile of delivery. 58% of global consumers would choose a retailer solely because of its delivery options. So think about that for a moment. When you go on the main marketplaces like Amazon, you're informed immediately when you can expect your product. I purchased something online on Sunday. I was told I would have it on Wednesday. I had it first thing yesterday morning. So that's something to be mindful of. Consumers want that seamless experience. They want the dependency, and they want to know when exactly a product is going to land at their doorstep. So having a really reliable logistics partner is crucial in that eventuality. So the opportunity that exists for businesses out there, everybody can benefit from this revolution, regardless of the size of your business. I know this from having dealt with some of our member businesses. where we had a situation when COVID hit initially. There was a West of Ireland shoe retailer who tripled his turnover on a given day because of his online presence and the fact that he decided to put a great reduction on a number of his products. That was really a situation which couldn't have been foreseen, but he seized the opportunity in lockdown to avail of the sales channel that was available to him while his bricks and mortar outlets were closed. So cross-border e-commerce is growing at twice the rate of domestic e-commerce. So while you might have your website geared at the Irish market, you have to realise that you can now do business beyond your boundary and beyond our borders and see what opportunities exist, for instance, in Northern Ireland, in Britain, in America, in Canada, and in some of the other English-speaking countries that we outlined at the start of this presentation. Consumers don't mind where they get their product. I mentioned that they're a little more disloyal than they would be when it comes to a bricks and mortar outlet. So it's really important to seize that opportunity to try and develop, markets further afield. International order values are typically higher than domestic order values, which leads to a higher shopping cart spend. I think that's going to be music to the ears of a lot of viewers who are interested in strategies for driving their online business, and it's important to bear that in mind. The barrier to entering global markets is less than you think. So sometimes we suffer in Ireland from, focusing on our immediate geographic area, be that within our town, be that within our county, or be that within our province and our country. However, we know that there are supports from Enterprise Ireland in the shape of the online retail scheme that should be availed of if you feel you have the scaling potential to enter new markets with your business. Selling your products globally allows you to diversify your business, especially in the face of rapid change like we've seen with the COVID-19 pandemic. This is acutely the case in situations where maybe next year we'll see a vaccine coming on stream, and having access to a vaccine will help reopen the economy in a much quicker way. However, we have no certainty as to when Ireland can avail of significant numbers of the vaccine to ensure that our people are vaccinated against this awful pandemic. With that in mind, you must look at other marketplaces that presents opportunities for your businesses so that you're not curtailed by what happens at a national level. So what are the consumers looking for? Here's some evidence. 91% of consumers look for the available delivery options before reaching the checkout. So they'll find out how soon they can have their product. 58% of global consumers would choose a retailer solely because of its delivery options. So you're getting a trend here that consumers just absolutely want that delivery option to come to them as quickly as possible after they have ordered their goods and products. 30% of shoppers would choose a retailer who offer a premium next day service. That's really worth bearing in mind, particularly for retailers and online businesses that are focusing on the national and domestic market. 50% of shoppers abandon carts because of limited shopping options. So think about that for a moment. That's a huge degree of lost spend. It's a huge degree of lost turnover in your business because of your delivery options available. So I think if that's one takeaway you go away with from today, focusing on your delivery partner and ensuring that you have a reliable logistics partner, particularly coming into Cyber Week, I think that all businesses can benefit from that. Twice as many customers are as likely to return to a retailer after a positive delivery experience. 66% of online shoppers check the retailer's return policy before making a purchase. This is really, really important, and businesses need to be aware of the compliance procedures that impact the way that they do business. They have to adhere to consumer rights. If they're selling in the Irish market, that has to be obviously something they're mindful of from an Irish perspective. But when they look to international markets, getting up to speed in terms of the compliance requirements both within and outside the European Union is crucial. 58% of people will abandon their shopping cart because of higher than expected shipping costs. So we can tell that people are really, really price sensitive, none more so than right now. And it's important important that, that there's an integrated price that's available with the shipping costs in the product ideally, but where that's not possible, looking for the most cost-effective logistics partner is important. 70% of online shoppers worldwide choose to prepay local duties and customs at checkout. This is an option that isn't exercised by Irish businesses, regretfully. And then shoppers and consumers, get a fright when customs come to their door looking to collect the amount that's outstanding on the products that they have brought into the country or imported. So Irish businesses, in order to get ahead of its competition, will need to focus on having that prepayment of local duties available. So the trading advantage of the global marketplace. Cross-border e-commerce is growing by about 25% each year. An average shopping cart value increase of 70% is not unusual, which is incredible. So your digital marketing skills really come into closer focus with regard to this statistic. Cross-border e-commerce shows half the returns rate compared to domestic sales. And that really feeds into the thinking of the consumer in terms of, oh my God, this is too much hassle to return this. Let's keep it and give it to somebody else. That's manna from heaven for retailers and online businesses, and it's something that needs to be borne in mind when you're devising a strategy for entering a new marketplace. Limited product ranges or lack of local availability means that there is a market there waiting for you. So look and see where you can find your niche, do your due diligence, use the supports, the Irish supports that exist in other marketplaces, find chambers of commerce, see what's possible for your business, and make sure that you have a fulsome plan before you enter a new market and spend money on digital marketing and other expenditure. Customs isn't a barrier for most purchasers as long as you have the right partner. So how do you get started? One of the key things that you need to bear in mind is offering international shipping from your website. So eking out what opportunities exist with the various logistics companies that are available in Ireland would be key. So talking to the likes of DHL, DPD, Fastway, all of those is a good move right now. Offering a range of shipping options, including express, is key because people want to receive their goods and products in early course, and offering flexible delivery options. So the big thing for consumers is they want the seamlessness of not being tied down, being able to receive their delivery at a time that's convenient for them, or having drop-off points that they can collect the goods and products so that they don't have to drive all the way around their vicinity in order to find where their product might be when they've missed the delivery driver. Providing a full tracking service is important. It's an information aspect that can't be overlooked. People want to know where their goods and products are. And offering a very simple returns policy, making that as easy as possible and hoping that you can reduce the numbers of returns that come as a consequence of a positive consumer experience on your website. So trust and brand loyalty during and after COVID. Building trust is really, really important, and e-commerce Europe, based in Brussels, have a trust mark which you can buy and put on your website for the purposes of ensuring that consumers in the likes of the Netherlands, in Belgium, in Spain, Portugal, and so on, are all aware that your business is a business and a brand to be trusted. We're very happy to take any questions in relation to that because e-commerce Europe are a partner of ours and they represent us at European level. So feel free to get in touch with us. But building trust and loyalty with your consumers has never been more important. Global e-commerce saw 81% year-on-year growth in May, and getting it right with your consumers now will certainly pay dividends down the road. During the coronavirus crisis, we saw in-store shopping plummet, unfortunately. That was consequential as a result of the fact that obviously lots and lots of stores had to close with public health restrictions and guidelines that were issued by various governments. But as a consequence, we saw online shopping spiral. As I mentioned earlier on in the presentation, 200% increase in retail sales. As more consumers turn to online shopping, they're asking these very key questions. Is the merchant open for business? So you need to put and position on your website that you are open. Your online website is an opportunity to avail of a sales channel and consumers 24 hours, 7 days a week, but making it very, very clear that you're open for business is crucial. Putting it on a pinned tweet, putting it on your other various social media is very important in order to ensure that a positive and proper message is given. Giving comfort as well around whether the order is going to be fulfilled is important, and letting your consumers know that the order will be handed over to a delivery service. So we're seeing a lot of nervousness around businesses really at this point in time. Lots and lots are obviously very challenged as a consequence of this pandemic. So the consumer is wary of that and they want that comfort. So you need to look and make sure that you comfort them to the extent that they will translate their interest in products on your website to the shopping cart and ultimately to sales. So ensuring as well that you will deliver the product within the usual delivery times and ensuring that you're compliant with health and safety issues regarding shipping. That is becoming more and more important to businesses and consumers. So strengthening that trust between you and your consumers and your business operations will be ready even in the worst of times. So the changing trends in e-commerce globally. We can see that there's an increase of 172% on computer monitors. That's really self-explanatory as a consequence of all the people who are working remotely, working from home, and are looking to be equipped. We see fitness equipment has gone up by 100% and 70% also. We see dog food has gone up by 159% as more and more people are at home and conscious as to the welfare of their pets. Smoking cessation has gone up 122%, and that's as a consequence of people getting more into fitness, worried about their health as a result of this pandemic. As people look to endorse and take on new interests, craft kits and projects have increased in sales by 117%. Hair colouring has gone up by 115% as consumers look to ensure that their cosmetics are dealt with in the home. Office desks have seen a surge of 89%. Golf clubs have fallen by 33%. Camping equipment has fallen by 39%. There's a possibility that consumers look at both of these as involving other people, third parties, and nervous around the pandemic, they are forgoing sales. Same thing with event and party supplies, down 55%. So they're really an indication as to where your consumers' minds are at. If you're in the athleisure wear sector, if you're in the fitness sector, exercise, retailing, sporting equipment, you'd stand to do very well. Same thing with food, same thing with novel pastimes, but unfortunately anything that involves great numbers of people is in the decline in terms of online sales. So your essential COVID-19 checklist. Clearly communicate any impact of COVID-19 on your homepage. Explain what's happening within your store, within your warehouse, and be open to that level of scrutiny because that's what your consumer demands right now. Leverage your product details page. Make sure that you have as much information as possible as people have more time now to spend considering the items that you have for sale. Consider lowering your free shipping threshold. Look also to addressing COVID-19 in your shipping options, and also be certain that your meta descriptions match your website. Establish a frequently asked questions page to answer important consumer questions. Look also to proactively and consistently communicating updates with regard to your store, with any disruptions that you might be encountering, be it bricks and mortar or online. Prepare for an increase in consumer service inquiries and see what's happening there. And leverage social media to communicate to your customers. Let customers know also that you have a reliable and flexible logistics partner, as I mentioned earlier on in my presentation. So just to summarise, based on what I've had to say today, cross-border e-commerce is a lucrative opportunity regardless of your company's size. Customers' buying habits have changed and will continue to evolve. And a secure and dependable logistics partner is really important for your operations. COVID-19 has certainly changed the global retail landscape, and building trust and loyalty is more important now than ever before. So don't be nervous. Look and see what the opportunities are that are out there, embrace them and get started.